Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our third episode of our MovieByte podcast, where we digest some of the movies that have impacted the movie culture. I am your host, Ruben, and with me is my buddy and film connoisseur, the Russian.
Hello, everybody. Today we will be talking about one of our favorite movies, and I want to say like guilty pleasures as well, because that movie, just no matter how many times you rewatch it, it's the jokes always land, the laughs are always real, the characters withstand the timestamp. By the way, the movie was released on December the 8th. That was a limited release, but it came out in 2000. But it came out to the worldwide audience and to the US theaters on January 19th. So tomorrow it would have been the 20th anniversary
look at that.
of the movie Snatch.
Damn, look at that. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. 20-year-old, not legal to drink, but can be, taken to the army.
Well, in Puerto Rico, he would be legal to drink.
In Mother Russia, as long as you can reach the bar counter, you can drink.
You can drink.
Right.
All right. Like Alex said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be discussing today Guy Ritchie's Snatch. It was his second film out of his filmography. Pretty much is the movie that launched him and introduced him to a United States mainstream audience. Now, this is the movie that pretty much started landing him bigger movie deals and so on. For those who don't know, Guy Ritchie is known for directing Sherlock Holmes, the first one, and Game of Shadow, which is a sequel. And most recently, he did Disney's Aladdin, the live action version. That is the last big budget film. And then he released last year The Gentleman, which kind of brought him back to his roots, which is what this movie Snatch is about. It's the genre that he is famously known. It's what he is good at. So we're going to be discussing that throughout the podcast tonight.
And Ruben, it was really hard for me to kind of describe the genre. Like, it's a crime, it's a comedy, it's a gangster movie, it's everything and above. And it's put like to such a great soundtrack that you almost feel like you're watching like a clip for the cool video and the songs in the background, and the actor is just playing these really phenomenal roles, because every character, even though no matter how much time they get on the script on the screen, they just so good introduced, carried on, and if they had to be sent off the screen, they do it in the fashion. Which a lot of characters kind of get on the train and get off the train, with this movie.
I agree with you. It is a tough movie to like say a genre specifically, because it's a heist, like you said, it's a comedy. It's black comedy, like dark humor in it. It's a mobster movie,
right?
Right?
But it's not your typical monster where it's so serious and everybody takes everybody so seriously, like Goodfellas. Obviously a phenomenal movie, but it's a little bit in a different category, because in that movie it's very serious and there's very little room to view it as a comedy, although there's fantastic laughs in that one as well. In this one, it's more feels like it's just gives you that good hour and a half, 2 hour just drive. It's a laugh, it's a story, it's a plot twist, it's everything. And then of course you have Brad Pitt. Like, we have to.
I was watching this movie on Saturday with my wife, and I just couldn't stop laughing.
Right.
It's been years. I haven't seen Snatch probably last time I saw it was probably like 2 years ago.
Let me ask you this. How did you come to Snatch? Like, did you watch it in the movie theaters? Did you came to the 19th of January release, or what?
No. So I never saw Snatch in theaters. I didn't know about the movie Snatch until I was in college, and probably this was the year 2008. And we were in like a study lounge, and someone was like, "Oh, we had like 2 hours between to our next class, and somebody was like, "Hey, I got this movie Snatch. It's really cool." And I'm like, "I've never seen it." So he popped it on his laptop. He always carried, this buddy of mine always carried a projector with him. So he projected the whole movie through a white wall that we had in the study lounge. Nice. And I was like, what's this? The first time I saw this movie, I did not understand a single thing that was happening with the plot.
Right. Well, first, like, let's just say this. It's British. It's very British. The words they use, the language.
Yeah.
Even the cousin Avi, when he goes back and he has a conversation with Bullet-Tooth Tommy, he's like, "Can you speak English? Like, aren't you guys invented the language? Like, I don't understand a single thing you're saying." So, and for me, as English being a third language, it was really, really hard to understand.
Yeah.
For the first time, but then
for me, it was definitely different, you know. And after that, I was like, I rented it as I needed to see it again. And after that, I was like, I like this guy's work. And I ever since that, I follow Guy Ritchie's work. Like after I saw Snatch, I saw Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrel, which is his first movie.
Yep.
And that's was that again?
It was huge in Europe. That's how I got introduced to Guy Ritchie, because we were all fans of Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. So when I saw the trailer, it was like, I forgot which channel it was, probably MTV or Cartoon Network. That's what I used to watch when I first got to the United States. And I saw the trailer and I was like, Guy Ritchie movie, yes, let's go. And I didn't have the car, you know, so I had to use manipulational skills to get somebody to drive me there. So I got 3 people to go with me. And after they watched the movie, and we went, I don't believe we went like on a Friday night. I think we went maybe Saturday, Sunday, but it was the premiere night and the movie theater was pretty dead. Maybe like 10 people were in. Again, January, it's not a good release for the movies. Not too many people go see it. And I was told by those guys who watched with me that I never pick a movie ever again. So that was my experience. Also, I think some of them posted it years later on their Facebook feed that was one of the best movies they ever seen in their life.
It was the movie that introduced the world to Vinnie Jones and Jason Statham. Those were his first movie ever. After that, Jason Statham's second movie was Snatch, same as Vinnie Jones. And after that, they continued doing other roles to what they're now known for.
Right.
Going into a little bit of the movie, as far as like budget versus gross, this movie was a total hit worldwide compared to how much money they spent making it. This movie only cost Guy Ritchie about $10 million to make.
Well, it was 6 million pounds.
Yeah, and $1 million of that was used for music only because they had to secure the rights for a Madonna song.
Right, the Lucky Star. Come on, you pay $1 million. You have a cast. Look at the cast. Read the cast now, and you say that the most money went to Madonna's song.
Yeah.
The part about that was just unique to me, especially coming from Guy Ritchie, is that the song is introduced when we introduced to Bullet-Tooth Tony.
Bullet-Tooth Tony, played by Vinnie Jones. Yeah.
Listen, he gets shot, right, by 6 bullets, and that song plays in the background. Okay, and then a few seconds later, when he's dragging the mullet or whatever, the guy's name.
Mullet. Mullet has him pinned down his window.
Yes, and that song is playing there, and he's like, "I love this track." I'm like, "Dude, you got shot while this song was playing, and you love it." I mean, just And they spend $1 million. I mean, to me, it's like I feel like it's a sick joke. He's marrying the girl; she's already pregnant. I mean, Madonna obviously is pop culture. I mean, 80s, 90s.
90s, yeah.
She was the biggest star of them all. She created the female empowerment, singer. I don't want to go into that realm to kind of not my specialty, not my cup of tea. But I mean, she was an icon, right? To me, she was at least from my.
Well, she was. She still is. She is, but. The movie paid out. It was a total success. It grossed over $80 million in the box office, so it was a hit. It became a cult classic. It's a phenomenon. Everybody that has seen Snatch has a favorite character, has a favorite line. Like there are reenactments of certain scenes. Like this is the movie that, like I said, launched the career of action stars like Vinnie Jones and Jason Statham.
And it cannot be replicated. The only person who can replicate the same genre is Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
We saw Gentleman. It's just trajectory continues. He went off and did his cool things on the side, as you mentioned, but that's the only thing, like really the only other movie that I was thinking really hard, and I could not come up with anything which would come close to the storytelling, character development, this fun, playful characters, except for Lucky Logan.
Yeah.
That's the only it's a little bit different in the style, but it's still a heist movie. It still has these wacky characters.
Yeah.
It's crazy, the plot, and it's just speedster. Like that's
for you it's Lucky Logan, and for me I see Snatch, and I can see how possibly this movie had influence on Baby Driver by Edgar Wright.
You see, I have not seen it yet. I know
you haven't seen Baby Driver.
I have not seen Baby Driver. As soon as I was gonna play it, the Kevin Spacey news broke down, and I felt dirty watching the movie.
I mean, Kevin Spacey's character's not important. Like, you need to watch Baby Driver.
Okay, I will. I mean, as soon as it comes up to 4K or whatever, because
I don't have the digital copy for you, but
Blu-ray, and I know
I have the 4K copy. But if you connect your Xbox, you can watch it. If not, you're
sold
on your
my
own.
Xbox. It was already put on the gift card, so
I got a 4K Blu-ray player I can sell to you.
Here we go.
Anyhow,
Craigslist podcast. Can we move along and pay attention?
Anyhow, marketing for this film. This film would have not been successful in the United States if it didn't have Brad Pitt on the front of the poster.
100%. I had to think about it because I was like, I love this movie so much, but you're right. Like, it would not. It made $8 million in opening weekend, but it kept going. It kept going, and people.
And Brad Pitt was coming off from Fight Club, so he already was high.
And he did not want to do another boxing movie because at first he was like, it's going to be a boxing role. I just did Fight Club. Why would I do the same character? And then he's like, it's not the same character. But let me play this with an English accent. And we all know what happened to that.
And he accepted it because he really wanted to work with Guy Ritchie because he was a fan of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Right.
And he's like, I want to work with him. I'll take the role. I don't care what it is. But this movie would not have been successful if Brad Pitt was not on the front of the poster. And the thing is, if you watch Snatch for the first time and you see the poster, you think that Brad Pitt is the main character in this movie, and he is not. He's a supporting character.
I mean, you can't really. Who is the main character? Jason Statham.
I would say for me, main characters are Jason Statham and honestly, I would suggest Jason Statham.
I mean, he's
a narrator in the entire movie.
Right. He like everybody else has. I never clocked the screen time, but I don't think anybody has, more than whatever. Like the character of Saul and Vinny when they chase the dog and all that. That's maybe.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you up, but I just received a text from my wife because she's listening and hi, honey, but she's making fun of you because she said even I have seen Baby Driver, and my wife has never seen most movies that I've seen. Okay, and now she's making fun of you. So get your shit together and watch Baby Driver.
All right, everybody, I'm being shamed. If this video, if we get 10 comments telling me that we watch Baby Driver, I'll watch Baby Driver.
I'll get you 11 people at work to tell you to watch Baby Driver.
I'll give you $5 each.
Anyway, so back to Brad Pitt, and this brings me to the characters of this entire movie. Guy Ritchie is known for putting colorful characters. I'm sorry, my broken English sometimes kicks in.
Would you like some water, sir?
Let me take a sip of beer.
Oh, somebody drinking on the job.
So colorful characters in his movies, and we were talking about Brad Pitt. He plays a gypsy traveler, who they also the Englishmen call them Pikeys. Right, it's a slang word for gypsy, and you see how the entire movie they're like, I hate Pikeys, I hate fucking Pikeys. Right, that's like you can take a shot for every time they say I hate fucking Pikeys in this
And
movie.
Russians.
And Russians, sneaky Russians, sneaky Russian. Oh, that's sneaky Russian. But Brad Pitt's character its name is Mickey. He plays a gypsy traveler. And this is another fun fact. It's one of my favorite facts of this movie. The language he's speaking in the movie, again, it's gypsy, it's Pikey, and it's on purpose. Brad Pitt could not pull off an English accent, so Guy Ritchie wrote the character of Mickey as a gypsy, so he could just play it off like that. And if you watch the movie with subtitles, it will actually show you what he's saying. If you watch the movie without subtitles, you don't understand what he's saying. Okay.
It's not for me, it's for my ma.
For ma. You like ducks? Ducks? You like ducks?
All right. If we start, we start quoting the movie, that's gonna be an entire hour.
So we got Mickey, played by Brad Pitt. You got Turkish, played by Jason Statham, who's a boxing promoter. His buddy is Tommy, who's also a boxing promoter. Another colorful character in this movie is Boris the Blade, who is the Russian character of the movie.
Who sells everybody defective guns.
Defective guns.
Everybody gets the gun.
He's also nicknamed the Bullet Dodger. And there's a fun scene in the movie in the hallway when Bullet Tooth Tony is shooting at him, and he keeps talking. And he's like, "Are you gonna die?" And he keeps shooting at him until he finally gets him, and he runs out of bullets, so he can't kill Tyrone.
And Tyrone, dude, talking about characters, he is my favorite character.
Tyrone is awesome in this movie.
Tyrone, he gets so much shit in the movie, but all he does is try to help. And he's not even on anything. He just, he stole the car, so now they need a getaway driver. Because he's like, all right, fuck it, I'll drive you.
What can he get away from? He weighs like 300 pounds.
Right. And don't get the dog to fuck my seats up. He's like, this is not.
Oh, man.
If I'm driving the car. All right. And then through entire movie, Tyrone just gets like so unlucky. And at the end, the Bullet Tooth runs out of bullets and by shooting the Russian. So he does not get the chance to kill Tyrone. So thank God. So
we got Boris the Blade, we got Tyrone, we got cousin Alvy, who's played by Dennis Farina. Bricktop. I can't remember the name of the actor. Alan Ford. Yeah.
By the way, just a quick side note: Sean Connery wanted to play Bricktop, and
that would have been awesome.
I mean, if you look from that, like I think Alan Ford.
I mean, Alan Ford did amazing. I think
that scene when he describes how the pigs will dismember the person.
Yeah.
You need 16 pigs. You need to start them for a couple of days. You need to chop butt in 6 pieces. Pull out the teeth. So
he made that character because I read the script and that character is not even close to what the description of the character was.
Well, you see, this time you read the script.
I read a little bit of the script. I read a little bit.
I couldn't find only the 4th draft, and I was like, I started reading it and felt really close to the movie. So
yeah, it was really close. Just a certain character description changed. Right. Who else we have in this movie? Bullet Tooth Tony, played by Vinnie Jones.
Vinnie Jones. I mean, the only thing I have a bone to pick with this movie and the first few Guy Ritchie movies, he does not have a strong female character or any female character. The only female character they have is the cousin Avi's
the bookie.
The bookie's daughters, like they only 2 kind of characters.
And the
gentleman he made his, it's kind of she's the powerhouse. So he kind of realized what he was doing wrong. Lockstock does not have a female protagonist. There's a girl on the couch who smokes a lot of weed, but that's about it. So yeah, that was my kind of only, why couldn't you put a couple cool female characters? But
I think it also has to do with the year that the movie was released and made. It's 1999, 2000, right?
I mean,
it's still
you pay $1 million to have
exactly
your wife's song.
You pay $1 million for one song,
right?
You have to pay Brad Pitt a good amount of money for him to be in your movie and be the face of the movie in the United States for it to be successful.
I mean, I think Brad Pitt just wanted to do the movie. I don't think he got paid. I mean, unless give him some royalties to cut up.
I'm assuming he probably
let's just be fair. Brad Pitt made plenty of money.
Oh yeah.
He made plenty of money on Mr. and Mrs. Smith and Ocean's 11, 12, 13. All of that was a cash.
Yeah, he's still making money.
Hell yeah.
But one thing about this movie is that this movie pretty much also helped launch the career of Matthew Vaughn, who in this movie is a producer.
He's a producer. Yeah.
Yeah. And after this, he pretty much got the opportunity because he was under Guy Ritchie's wing to do Layer Cake with Daniel Craig, which was released in 2006. And because of that movie, Matthew Vaughn got bigger projects. For those who don't know, Matthew Vaughn he's famous for directing all the Kingsman movie, including the third one that's supposed to come out later this year. He directed X-Men First Class, Kick-Ass. He's done tons of movies and big budget movies that he's really known for. So he's a great director. And again, he came from the tutelage of Guy Ritchie.
I mean, great breed great. You want to be with greatness.
I gotta tell you, English directors make great movies. I've seen every work of Guy Ritchie, and I can't tell you except for Swept Away. I refuse to watch Swept Away because that movie, I don't think he made that. He was hypnotized by Madonna to do that one.
So now if we can get 10 more likes for Ruben to watch Swept Away.
I ain't watching Swept Away. Have you seen Swept Away?
No, but I did not say on camera that I'm refused to watch it.
Oh, it's the one Guy Ritchie movie that's just not. Hey, listen, you can't count it.
If you want to be on a podcast, you gotta watch everything.
Said the guy who hasn't seen Baby Driver.
I mean, I said I watch it. I watch it. I
think the trailer. I'm gonna ask you on the next podcast. Have you seen Baby Driver?
I'll make an effort to watch it.
But look, Guy Ritchie after Snatch, he did Revolver with Jason Statham again, and that wasn't a successful movie as he wanted it to be. But then he did Rock and Rolla in 2008 with Jared Butler, and that was the movie that again put him on the spotlight. And after that, he did Sherlock Holmes,
and that just
and then from there on, projects just kept coming, and now
I really was everything which is remade from the cartoon into the film is not my forte, but Aladdin was very well done.
I like Aladdin. It's I think he did a really good job putting his touch to it.
Right.
Even it's a Disney movie, you can actually see his trademark somewhere incorporated in that movie.
Now, if we go back to one more character which we did not discuss is that Franky Four Fingers. Franky Four Fingers, Benicio del Toro. How he got him on board, who knows? Probably,
Puerto Rico, baby.
Fish and chips and a trip to London.
Yeah.
Because he just sets up the mood. When you have that intro, right? It's very kind of like all over the place. You see the cameras. You follow these Jewish guys who talk about Virgin Mary, which I think is a kind of given the head off to Reservoir Dogs. When you remember in the beginning when they sit at the restaurant table and they talk about the Like a Virgin song by Madonna. Other but Madonna, how they break apart that song. Speaking about Crazy Furies, they have a Crazy Fury about the song right there. If you want to check it out, be my guest. And here again, it's another breakthrough about Virgin Mary, that the actual translation from the word was not virgin, it was a young female.
Yeah.
So it sounds really different than a young female gives birth or the virgin gives birth. So when you lose things in translation, here you go. But another thing that I love about the beginning, and we're going to get back to Benicio del Toro, let me just finish my train of thoughts, is that there's actually kind of double credits, because first you have credits for the actors and the director and all that, and then you have a little scene about, what do I know about diamonds, and then you go to introduction of the characters. Every character is introduced, you see their picture, they do their little trick, and then you give the name here. This is Franky Four Fingers, Kazanali, this is Bulletooth, this is Turkish, Bricktop, and so on. So it's kind of, I think it was hard at the beginning for the audience kind of view it. It's like, how many credit scenes there is going to be? Like, do I have to remember all these guys? You don't, but it's a really cool kind of, hey, I'm shuffling cards. This is what.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you bring that up, because I actually looked into that, and it's something Guy Ritchie is known for. It's titles. He got inspired by I think it's the movie Wild Bunch to have animated title sequence, If you remember, whenever they're showing the security camera footage, you see the title, the credits with like the black bar, and they're positioned within the monitor because they wanted it to be like part of the monitor.
Right, right.
And then when the official title starts, they recreated boxing promotional posters. So that's the font and colors and scheme you see through the movie that they're introducing characters, because it's the same way that they would create boxing promotion posters.
Oh, really? Did not know that.
Yeah. So if you look at an old boxing promotion poster, like from a Muhammad Ali fight, you'll see like the stars and the big bold letters and that type of animation. And that's what Guy Ritchie wanted to do, because in the end, this is a high slash boxing movie.
And the boxing scenes are done so well.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really cool, and
especially, and we'll get there, but I love the scene where Brad Pitt gets like an uppercut and he's like floating in midair and he falls into the water.
Oh.
It reminds me of Sherlock Holmes' fight scene in the beginning of the movie when they're using the slow frame cameras.
All right.
Yeah. But back to the title sequence, like he did that on purpose because the movie it's a boxing movie / heist movie. And again, this is another, we'll get later on, it's another technical aspect, it's another trademark that Guy Ritchie has regarding these two storylines in the movie.
I mean, yeah, they kind of interconnect in a cool car crash scene.
Yeah.
But it's really a story about everybody trying to hustle. You have Turkish who trying to hustle somehow. You know, he has his slot machines going on. He got the gorgeous George who's gonna go and fight
the Germans.
The Germans, and then he needs to buy a caravan because the one that they have is old, and that's how he gets introduced to Mickey, who's played by Brad Pitt. And then it's all like rattles like a spaghetti ball. It's just insane. And then at the end, obviously, everything just goes back to technically normal with a crazy twist. But yeah, that's the Snatch in a nutshell.
Yeah. So as far you asked me about my first perspective, what was your like perspective when you first time you watched this movie?
I mean, I loved it instantly. I was a big fan of Lock, Stock, and I watched the Lock, Stock so many times, and I was like so pumped. I came out, I was like, guys, what'd you think? And everybody were like, what are you talking about? This was garbage. Couldn't understand half what they said. We did not knew what's going on, who is doing what. I'm like, dude, the diamond was in the dog. The dog was caught by Turkish at the end. Like, which part you don't understand? So I was really pumped, and I tried to promote it to everybody who I could. But yeah, my days as being a movie buff were ahead of me at the time when the movie came.
Yeah.
But it was really cool experience, and I want to say that it was probably one of the first movies I haven't seen in the movie theater in the United States. But yeah, I remember like today that I went, well, it was 20 years ago, but it was cool drive and cool movie. And I mean, we can't get it back, but every rewatch, you know, that some feelings come back. You always notice one joke that you maybe missed like in the last one, but you remember it like two years ago. And it's intense how many times I've seen it now. It's a cool party movie. I think that's kind of movie you can put it on. It's not like Seven. It's not like Joker.
Yeah, no. Like it's a fun movie to watch.
Exactly. And even if you skipped half of it, if you've seen it before, you can jump in and you know exactly what's happening. On my end, there's no crazy conspiracy theories. There's nothing. What I can say is like, oh, listen, this is what actually happening. I think it's pretty obvious what's happening, and what you may see as a conspiracy theory, it's described to you and shown on the film. You know, the Pikeys have their own idea. They would not let it slide. They would not break top win. There's not too many good characters, but they're fun characters. You know,
they're fun characters. Exactly.
They're like they deserve to come on top, even though you may not know if they did or not, because we kind of are left as a cliffhanger because Avi is coming back to you know.
You have anything to declare? Yeah, don't go to London.
Fish chips, bad weather. So he goes back, and when he gets passport control, that's the end. So technically speaking, there could be some kind of more adventures with the diamond. I mean, you give Guy Ritchie.
It could be a whole circle again,
You never know. Exactly. Yeah. Pikey's come back to fight, 20 years later. But I think that's one of those movies when you watch it and you're hooked. You either hooked instantly, or I think you will get back to it at some point. Because if you're in the right state of mind, this is the very fun movie to watch and rewatch for that matter. But there's the one thing I can't get out of my head, because I recently watched Shaun of the Dead. Is the Winchester pub. Is that the same one they use? I need to talk to Stevie. Maybe he will know, because that pub that they use, it looks, maybe every pub in England looks the same, but that those corners, it just felt like it's the same place that they used. But the location that they shot was all in London, so it could be.
Hey Stevie, if you're listening to this, can you leave a comment and let us know if that's the same pub they used in Shaun of the Dead and Snatch? He's probably going to listen to this one. I don't think he's heard the other podcast, but I told him we were going to talk about Snatch, so he's going to listen to this one.
Right. Another thing, they didn't have enough money for the extras, so when they were filming the boxing scenes, they had to move the extras to the side.
I read about that. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Like all the little stuff that makes this movie so incredible.
So, as far as technical aspects of the film, we talked a little bit about the casting. We had big name stars who at that time were not big name stars, like Statham and Vinnie Jones. The director style, okay, like Guy Ritchie is unique when it comes to directing movies. I don't think there is a director out there that can copy or come close to the style that he has when he makes this movie.
It's very snappy. It's very shot oriented. It's almost like you flipping through the picture album, because every scene, it can be flipped over. It can be, zoomed in, zoomed out. It can freeze. He does this like weird kind of engagement with the audience where you watching this, but it's a movie, but to me it feels like so animated, so into it, little aspects of things that happen, and how it's shot and how it reversed, and how in this particular movie, the one thing that comes to mind that the car scene that I already kind of touched about, like one thing moving forward, and you have the scene, and you have the scene back coming kind of, and it's kind of bringing all these aspects together, where it's usually done in a time sequence, right? Even if it's done from different angles, it's still like you kind of know, oh, this is what's happening now, this is what's happening now, and this is how it ends. Here, it's like, this is how it ends, but this is how it starts, and this is how it propels. So it's that cinematography, you have to have a taste for it, and you have to know what you're trying to accomplish. I don't know if it was done, on a script, it was in his head, or after he watched the scenes that he shot, he's like, well, you know what? I want to put them in this order instead of being chronologically displayed in the movie. So it's as you mentioned, it's very unique. It's very appealing to it's not. Fincher does opposite. Fincher does these slow shots where the camera stays still, it zooms up. It's kind of it brings you kind of following the camera. Where here, camera is like as a photograph, just taking.
It's a fast paced, high octane like action.
Right.
When he's filming, and this is where it comes to in play, like the whole. We got two storylines in this movie. We got the boxing storyline, and then we have the heist. The diamond storyline. Mm-hmm. And throughout the movie, they keep going back and forth. You got these characters that are involved with the diamond, and then you have Turkish, who's Jason Statham's character, and Tommy trying to find a way where they can make Bricktop happy and not get killed by him, because they just lost the fighter that he wanted, and Mickey didn't throw the fight. So you got these two storylines that are going like in a circular, right? And it comes to a point in the movie where all of these characters clash and connect, and they all have a moment where, like, one setting where they're all like together at once, and then it goes back into a loop, and it ends up again, and the movie ends with a diamond, and it ends with the diamond.
Starts with the diamond.
Starts with a diamond and ends with the diamond.
Right.
Yeah. And it's something that Guy Ritchie does with the majority of his movies. If you see Rock and Rolla, it's the same thing. You got multiple storylines where they all connect at one point through the movie, and it ends the same way it began.
Same with Lock, Stock, Smoke and Barrels. It starts with the guy throwing the guns from the river top, and then phone call being made, and then now we go full loop behind how it happened.
Yeah. The same thing happens in Sherlock Holmes, and it's and Gentlemen as well. You and I saw Gentlemen in theaters, and
I need to watch it many more times before I make any statement about Gentlemen. I only seen it twice. Everybody's like, twice? Is that not enough? No, for us, it's not. I can't make a decision.
A Guy Ritchie movie has to be seen multiple times for you to understand what's happening. You see it once, you're not gonna understand it. You're gonna be like, "This is a trash movie. This is a bad movie." But then you watch it a second time, you start getting it because you already know the characters in the movie, and you can focus on the story. And this is the same thing I had when I first saw Snatch. There was too many characters in the movie the first time I saw it, and I was trying to catch up. So wait a minute, where's this character coming from? Where's this character coming from? But once you see the movie the first time, and you know who is who, you watch it a second time, and you can focus on the story. And you get to understand it. And the more times you watch it, the more you get it, and you to the point that you're like, "This okay? Now I know what's happening." And it's something that Guy Ritchie does. I honestly think it's genius.
I mean, if you want to make multiple viewers to watch it over and over again, yeah, why not? To make this, it's not a complicated movie, but the way that it's portrayed on the screen, you only get, like, as you said, like tastes and bits and pieces from the characters, and they are sometimes so overwhelming that you try to digest those pieces on the go, but instead you have to just collect them and eat the whole meal later. And that's the thing about this movie in specifically is that every character makes impact on the storyline. If the Four Fingers would not had a gambling problem, he would not try to place the bet. If he didn't have that gambling problem, we wouldn't have the Boris the Blade. But if
Boris
we didn't have the Boris the Blade, we wouldn't be introduced to him selling the faulty guns and Turkish and Turkish and Vinny trying to get back the money and so on. And it's all twisted around, and that's how it brings the great story together. But yeah, it's definitely worth rewatching.
Oh, absolutely. For those who are looking to watch this movie, I think you can stream it through AMC or AMC Plus, so you can sign up for like their 7-day trial and watch it, or you can always rent it digitally. They just announced they're coming out with the 4K transfer of it, so I watched the movie the other day on digital, right? It doesn't look as good because, again, it's a movie that was filmed in 2000, so they're using film. Digital wasn't like something popular at that time.
Especially if you watch like the specials and extras, like it looks like a VHS tape which been swallowed by the player a couple of times and then spit it out. But I'm
excited for the 4K transfer of this movie.
It's gonna look really good.
Yeah, one thing I like about the movie as well is like the dialogue. There's never a dull moment in this movie. Like every scene has something funny that one of the characters say, just to keep you like up going with it. Like you never feel bored watching or hearing these characters interact with each other.
So, like what do we call you? A bullet?
You can call me Susan if it makes you happy. Like stuff like that. Like it's just genius how like you write those things and you just make that scene fun.
The dialogue when Vinnie Jones gives when they tried to rob him, he's like, all I see is the cock and two balls, and the balls are shivering. And just judging by the fact that you're staring at me with two replicas printed on it, and then you see that shot of replicas being kind of introduced to us. But one thing that he does as a director just gives that snapshot of the replica. It's kind of camera zooms in, replica zooms out, and then I have a Desert Eagle 0.50, and then you show that it's cool. Like his movie is just, like a fancy car. You want to drive it, you want to watch it.
Well, one of my favorite scenes is it's the getaway car scene with Tyrone and Vincent and Saul. How they're arguing in the car, and they haven't even moved, and like Tyrone's like,
what he can get away with.
And they get to the place, the pawn shop. They're gonna the pawn shop or the
park the car.
To park the car is like, I don't think it's gonna fit. He's like, you got this whole massive space.
You can plant a plane down there, and he's like, I did not see it. When the objects come from behind of you, like, what do you mean?
It's right behind you.
Yeah, it's like
that scene, and then later on in the movie, my other favorite scenes when Boris the Blade comes in to get the suitcase. And he's like, okay, where's the diamonds? Like, we put it in the suitcase, and the only person that knows the code, you just shot him. So he grabs the blade and chopped his hand off.
Well, he was 4 fingers. Now he's one hand man, dude. I mean, it's the little things that they put in the dialogue. It's so fast paced, and that's the thing. You can't catch it on the first go, no matter how good. I mean, your English are maybe Stevie's the guy who can break it down to you, but it's, to me, unless I'm watching with subtitles, I still gonna miss some jokes, unless of course I've seen them like millions of times and it's already like in your brain. And do you like dogs? Like dogs?
You like dogs?
That's that scene. And then the delivery from Brad Pitt is just like, they could just take back the caravan. Why the fuck they need caravan that has no wheels? like what the? It's just like,
a deal's a deal.
Yeah, I'll fight you for it. You don't bring the big fella if you don't want to try to say something. Like, I fight you for it. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the movies we love, every movie has its flavor. Every movie has something which belongs. And this is like, it's a really light. It's a really fun. Even though you can rewatch it again and again, just because of the delivery. The sound quality is phenomenal. The mixture is, you go from one to the next one, from high pace to the slow pace. You go into the fighting scene, as you mentioned before, when Brad Pitt has his final fight and he needs to go down, and it starts with kind of like a little bit of nothingness, and then he knocks the guy down. The guy goes down, and we're like, is this a repeat of the first fight where like that's it?
Yeah.
And the guy comes up, and then we have this heavy techno rave intro, into it. Obviously fascinates me, but then you pull down the sound, and you have these grunting, grueling, biting, punching moments, which typical fight sounds like, and then you go back to that heavy octane beat. And then obviously you have that scene with him flying through the air and landing into the water, and looking from behind, and obviously finishing the fight. It just, everything about that movie is phenomenal.
And like I said earlier, that scene of that boxing fight scene just reminds me so much of Sherlock Holmes, when Robert Downey Jr. is fighting. And I mean, and that movie in Sherlock Holmes, they use the technology, like the slow frame cameras to like catch the punch, and you see Robert Downey Jr. and the narrating like what he's doing. But I think like that scene that Brad Pitt gets hit and he's floating in the air, that was like the movie, like the scene that inspired.
Guy Ritchie was like, if only I had some more money.
If I had the technology to create a scene. And then later on, about 9 years later, Warner Brothers like, here's your big budget movie.
Yeah,
make us a hit. And he's like, finally, I got the technology I need to make the movie, to make the scenes that I need to make. Oh man. Again, Guy Ritchie is an amazing director. Snatch is an amazing film. If you're in for a good laugh, you want to enjoy a movie. It's one of those, like the Russian said, it's one of those movies that you can watch multiple times. You're not going to get tired of it.
Yep. And it made a decent amount of money too. $86 million overall. Yeah. 30 domestically, but it made its money back. So
yeah, it was a $10 million budget. How you think this film has impacted or changed the genre?
And that's the thing that we kind of try to attach to the movie is I think it was revolutionary in its own kind, and I think that whoever tries to replicate it, I mean, you mentioned Baby Driver. I have not watched it, so I mentioned Logan Lucky. It's really hard to have packed 90 minutes of, first of all, fantastic dialogue, which is written and delivered punch by punch. Like you read the script and you told me like you're laughing for the script. So this specific movie was already funny on paper, right? So all they had to do is get the right cast for cheap, which they did, and that's how you transform it.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it's all about either. I mean, to me, it seems like you either go with the kind of comic book theme, so maybe a little bit of Kick-Ass. You can see that movie could have been inspired by that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of pinpoint what people took of it, but I mean, I have to go back and say Matrix, but the Matrix was the movie on its own, and it used like a lot of different technology. So I think the Matrix inspired more of the Guy Ritchie style in shooting those like action scenes. Then obviously it could have expired backwards. So it's a hard question to follow up with, and I really dig deep about it and trying to see what transpired, but I could not give you the definite answer, and sometimes we're just not gonna have one, because it's a really movie of its own, and it's so unique in the aspect that it was shot. It's so, I mean, and I've seen multiple people who hate the movie, who just don't understand it, who don't like it, and it needs to grow on you. That movie needs to grow on you. From the first go, it's probably not going to be your cup of tea, but if you give it a shot, if you watch it, and it doesn't take much, it just takes a time. If you just
wait till they hear about Memento next week.
Well, Memento, that's going to be a totally different story. That movie is
for me, it's just it's a unique movie, like you said, but it just opened up the doors to many things. This movie changed. It made out action stars out of Jason Statham, who during the early 2000s, he was just the action star of the early 2000s. Every movie poster you would see out, summer blockbusters, Jason Statham was in it.
I think it's funny to me because he did not play an action role.
He didn't, and he didn't either on Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrel. He didn't play an action.
He just was given a name out there, and that name was good enough. I guess he had to have a great agent, and the movie studios take it. And he probably wasn't too expensive in the beginning, but it really propelled. So if we talk about who came out of this movie, obviously Guy Ritchie, but Jason Statham, he made that movie made his career. That movie put him in a stardom, and the 90s were weird, especially late 90s were a weird transition. We were kind of breaking away from your typical action hero. You had Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, who kind of transitioned into Mr. McClane, Bruce Willis himself, and then you had obviously like the Matrix. I already mentioned, like Neo, Keanu Reeves. It does not come to you as your typical action star, but the Point Break and all of those movies, they kind of toned it down with the expectations for the body build of the action hero. And Jason Statham, he fit the bill perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing he can't do is the fire scenes, but hey, whatever works, they didn't have to do any fire scenes in this one. His caravan was not burned like Mickey's mom inside. So
Jason Statham came out of this movie. Vinnie Jones, like we mentioned earlier, he came out to become not a major star, but he is memorable for the roles that he's done. You know, his most famous role is X-Men: The Last Stand. He plays the Juggernaut. He made the line, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch," famous, you know? Everybody quotes the line in that movie. Even though it's a horrible movie.
It's a horrible movie.
Horrible movie. But he makes that
right.
particular scene, he makes it memorable. "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." Right? And then, of course, you got Matthew Vaughn, who went on to direct many blockbusters through the late 2000s, you know? Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, the Kingsman trilogy, you know? He, like... And you can see, like, his elements are in the movie, and many more, and many other actors have come out from this. And it's a movie that it will always be out there, and it will always survive time. I think it's a movie that ages pretty well. Like, no matter how long it's been, you can enjoy and watch it.
And it's at this point, like, no matter how many times you've seen it, it's always good to put it on, you know, once in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And relive it back. It's a really good, fun experience.
There's so much going on in this movie that you watch it every 2 years and you're not gonna remember what's happening. Like, you're gonna forget the plot.
One joke, you know, which brings back to you.
Yep.
That's what I love about this one. So next week, you say we're bringing back Christopher Nolan for the first show.
Next week, we will be bringing back Christopher Nolan. Why do you say bringing back? Have we talked about Christopher Nolan already?
Me and you talked about Christopher Nolan daily, so I'm not on the podcast, but...
Okay. So, yeah, we will be discussing Memento, directed by Christopher Nolan. It was his first... It wasn't his first film. It was the first film that it put him out there. And we'll discuss why and what was his first film. It was an original story, and we'll go into details about it, but it's a very good movie. It's another movie that you can't really put a genre onto it. You know, it's a thriller, suspense, mystery.
Right. If you guys want to hear it, definitely watch it.
Yeah. So yeah, next week we'll be discussing Memento. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's podcast where we just analyzed the movie Snatch. We talked about it a little bit. Hope you guys got you interested and catch it. You can rent it, buy it. It's a great movie, worth watching.
Hopefully it will come back to Netflix at some point because it was on Netflix for a long time.
It was, yeah. So again, thank you so much for listening and tuning in.
Thank you, everybody.
I am Ruben, with me, the Russian, and this is MovieByte, where we digest top movies that have impacted our culture. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Have a good one, guys.